Hi, Cami here. I'm a well-being coach. I specialize in helping people who have a high ACEs score. ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. I work with people who are kind of healing trauma, releasing trauma in their bodies, and I do that with coaching and also with yoga therapy. Today I'm talking about 3 differences between the work that I do and then the work that you might encounter with a talk therapist, a psychotherapist, a licensed mental health counselor, someone like that. So there is definitely some overlap, and we 100% work together. I actually work at a psychotherapy and wellness center. So we 100% refer clients to each other. We have a lot of overlap, but there are some key differences that it might be helpful for you to be aware of. First difference is training. So we are all very trained. We all have graduate degrees. We have different types of trainings. But what we learn, it has some key differences. A talk therapist really studies pathology of thoughts, kind of plays into behaviors and relationships. The word there is the pathology part. So psychotherapist, mental health counselor will diagnose and treat and really kind of probe into and challenge, ultimately with the plan to heal, pathologies, misguided thinking, things that can come up, even like personality disorders and that kind of thing. In contrast, as a coach and as a yoga therapist, I don't study how to diagnose or even like treat any of these disorders. When I perceive, and also together with my client, when we perceive that there might be a disorder going on, a pathology going on, we refer, we bring in a talk therapist, a licensed mental health counselor of some sort. But we can totally still keep working together. In our training, in coaching and also in yoga therapy, we're not studying the pathologies as much, although we definitely prepare pathology reports and we keep ourselves educated on what they are, but we're not trying to diagnose them and treat them. We are supporting the whole person, whole system, a bigger emphasis on the body. So certainly in yoga therapy, we focus a lot on the body and the breath, and the mind comes in to play, but it's not as much focus on the mind, and it's definitely not diagnosing anything like that. In coaching, we get into positive psychology, growth mindset, motivational interviewing. Again, licensed mental health counselors also study these things. They just have a different emphasis in their training on diagnosing, treating, and really getting into like the pathologies. In coaching and in yoga therapy, our training is more on whole person wellness, supporting systems for thriving of that individual. So that's one difference, is the training. Another difference is the timeline that we're looking at. Often in a psychotherapy setting, you might be like really kind of going back in time. You might also be looking certainly at current thoughts, current behaviors, current situations, and maybe a little bit towards the future, trying to get to like a vision that you have. But there really can be a lot of emphasis on the past, which is often very, very appropriate and helpful to kind of tease through all that stuff. In coaching and in yoga therapy, our timeline is more, there might be a little bit of the past, just like we take a history, we have an intake process, but it's really applying So for example, in coaching, we might apply past successes to your current goals and like harness what have you done in the past? How did you overcome something in the past? And apply that to your current situation. In yoga therapy, it might be very helpful to know, oh my gosh, there was a big car accident 11 years ago, and that might be playing out in a side cringe pattern. So we might like take the past into consideration, but we aren't focusing very much on the past. The focus is more present and maybe a tiny bit in the future, just in terms of like goals. That's more coaching. And yoga therapy, it's very much like present. Maybe the next week, like, what do you want your homework to be for the next week? But the timeline can be kind of different. And then the third difference is the amount of talking. So you notice I chose all T's here. So the first difference was training, second difference was timeline, third difference is the amount of talking. So definitely in talk therapy, by definition, you're going to be doing a lot of talking. You might also do art therapy, play therapy. There are lots of different modalities, cognitive behavior therapy, dialectical behavior therapy, many, many different ways of doing the psychotherapy. In coaching, we definitely do talking. There's also a lot of visioning. You create your well-being vision. We check in every week, and there's talking there, but the sessions aren't very long sometimes. They can be like 15 minutes, depending on what's going on, sometimes up to an hour on the weekly check-ins. And then in yoga therapy, nobody does very much talking. The yoga therapist might do some talking in terms of guiding you through a meditation or a breath practice. The client, you often don't have to do much talking at all in a yoga therapy session. You might kind of vocalize, if you want, you might vocalize what you're noticing in your body. You might vocalize how a certain practice is making you feel in your central nervous system, something like that. Again, there does tend to be an intake where there can be some talking, but in general, the level of talking in both coaching and yoga therapy is just lower than it is in psychotherapy. I love psychotherapy. I have used psychotherapy for myself in the past, and I certainly love it when my clients are working with a whole care team that includes a psychotherapist. Sometimes my clients are working with psychotherapist and a dietitian and me, and with me they do coaching and yoga therapy, and that's amazing. So it's not that one is better than another. We're working together, and we're tackling things and supporting the client in various ways. So I hope you found that helpful. If you'd like to talk to me, I offer 30-minute free consultations. I would love to talk to you about your situation, and we could give you like a little roadmap on, where might you want to start, what's coming up for you. And let's see what else. I have some books on meditation and sleep and even foraging. So I'll be just linking a few resources below if you'd like to learn more about how to work with me. And if you got value, these 3 T's, that's pretty good stuff, right? I thought of it yesterday on my walk. Anyway, if you learned something, if you got some value, please subscribe to this channel if you're not already subscribed. Like the video, it helps other people find it. Thank you so much, and I hope that you have a good day. Bye.